No
I
problem.
did, yeah, we're recording. Yay.
You see the mine. I'm
Yeah.
always the last to hear what's going on here because, um, okay.
I usually have Lori-Ann's book right here, and then it must have gotten relocated. So yeah, you
Okay. If you can find it, no
I'll
problem. We,
I'll be right back. I'll go grab it.
it's not essential, but you have a little bit of time. I can, um, okay, folks. Well, welcome to the ripple effect here. Erica's, trying to locate a hard copy of, Lori-Ann's book. Because we were talking and we kind of dropped the ball on that one for a second. But this show is about, health issues, spiritual, physical, mental health, and we've had Lori-Ann on before. I'm glad to have her back. But first I wanted to get to just do a quick check-in with Erica and tell us what the latest is with you, Erica. Uh, we were catching up a little bit on the towers. I was complimenting you on how much light you get over there for those towers, and if you don't mind, also just telling us how you know Lori-Ann.
Yeah, hi. It's so good to see you both. I am in Oakland, California. I know you both from our wonderful networking group, Abundant Referral Circle. And the light that you see coming off is from the LED lights of the vertical tower garden. These lights move around and they give really good light to all the plants and people and animals, and all my plants get happier when they're on. And yeah, so happy to be with you. Happy spring.
Yeah, happy spring. I was just complimenting Carrie on her desk that we brought over here. It has a light that looks just like that. Maybe it can help her grow a couple of inches taller.
Great. Let's try it. Let's see what we do. I know she's up for experimenting, so why not?
Yeah, well, with without further ado, let's Lori-Ann, if you don't mind just introducing yourself again. I know Erica was we had you on probably about 2 or 3 years ago now, so we just wanted to check in with you and hear who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, Lori-Ann Gertonson, I am a holistic chiropractor and I am in practice in Albany in California. And I, work with people to help improve their lives, help them feel alive in their life and help them, get back on the track to healing with an inside out approach as opposed to an outside in approach. So my goal is to help people take charge of their health and help them live a long, happy life, body, mind, and spirit. I guess that's what I would say.
Yeah,
What I
all of
do.
that is like for real. Like thing you just said, it's like deep. So
I
Yeah,
know
well,
it sounds like a
she's the
lot. Yeah.
expert at it. Yeah, we're kind of the novices on this show because we're not doctors, but you have the like clinical experience about how to kind of get people healthy and keep them healthy. So, um,
Well,
now we did want to mention your book, Eric. I don't know if you were able to track down a copy, but if you don't mind just telling us a little bit about your book, because we didn't get to do much on that last time. And I love the fact of how you're such a purveyor of all these great ideas that we actually love to showcase on this show. So,
sure. Well, it's called, I think maybe you can see on my background, but Creative Self-Health, a consciousness-based approach. And so the idea for this book is about people taking charge of their health, because mostly when people think about healthcare, they're outsourcing it, right? They're outsourcing it to practitioners, doctors, whoever, and they're not really engaged in taking charge themselves. And sometimes, I don't know if everyone understands what that means, but most people are used to going to a doctor, pills, potions, and lotions to help them to heal. But healing is an inside out job. But the book is, also about connecting to the greater part of you, your non-physical self, that your eternal self. We call it spiritual intelligence in the book. And it's about connecting to that part of who you are, not just your physical body. So that was the goal of writing the book and helping to bring that idea to people so that they would come from a different frame of reference, because we believe we are more than just a physical body. I just had a bad accident. You guys know about that, but I was hit by a car. And, a great thing for me was, so I was crossing a street and then the car hit me, but I didn't see it coming. So that happened to my body, but I heard in my mind a conversation. It's like, what part of me was having this conversation, right? It was like, one part was saying, what just happened? And another part was saying, I think you were just hit by a car. And there was this actual conversation. So, who or what is this part of you that is witness to what's going on in your life? Who is it? And what part of you is not that physical body? And, that's just an example of really being in touch with that non-physical part, because my body was being, injured very badly at the moment, but might not be a great reference, but, who are we truly? I think we're more than this physical body. Don't you agree? You guys agree with that, right?
Absolutely. I agree. And I mean, heck yes. It's so like, this is like the big deep questions of existence,
Yeah, yeah.
Existential, not angst, but existential inspiration, like, for what are we doing here? And these are, I think we're spiritual light beings, in these physical forms. And, so I really appreciate the work you do, because it helps bring out that remembering and reconnecting, and in the form of chiropractic care and your book and the other things that you offer. Like, I always feel like my system gets organized as a result of getting to be your patient and getting to work with you. This opportunity to redo ourselves and reinvent ourselves, and the healing that you've been through, you've reinvented yourself. So you're really walking the walk and talking the talk, right?
Yes, thank you. Well, yes, I, luckily had a large resource to draw on to help me recover from that. But, it's interesting when you bring up chiropractic. So, the book was our philosophy put out there in terms of, who we are on a non-physical level, and the idea that we are a projection of spiritual intelligence. Now, spiritual intelligence can be whatever you think of as the non-physical organizing part of the universe, right? Some people might call it God. Some people may, call it spiritual intelligence, as we did in chiropractic. They call it universal intelligence. And so this whole idea and philosophy is not foreign to chiropractic. Most people think of chiropractic as just, cracking bones or, aligning the body in some way. But what really attracted me to become a chiropractor was when I met the founders of a new school at the time, and they were telling me about the philosophy of chiropractic, which is that there's a universal intelligence that informs all that is in the universe, that orders everything. And that in each and every one of us, there's a piece of that called innate intelligence. That is what orders all the processes of our body. That's that non-physical self. Maybe some people might call it our soul, but it's that non-physical sense of self. And that each and every one of us has that inside. And that is expressed in the human body through the nervous system. And that nervous system being encased in the brain and spinal cord is what chiropractors do, is to align that spine to allow the expression of innate intelligence in the body, to allow the body to heal itself. So that is what attracted me to be a chiropractor in the first place. And so it was naturally, a natural outcrop from that to go even a little bit further with this book and looking at consciousness, which is that, expression and connection of that innate intelligence with universal intelligence, is connecting to consciousness or spiritual intelligence, and allowing that organizing principle to express itself in our human body. But as you said, maybe Wayne Dyer said, we are not physical bodies having spiritual experiences, but we're spiritual bodies having a physical experience, right? So that it's that same concept that we are trying to bring to light there, and talking about, who we are in the bigger sense of self. Who is self? And that's what we're talking about, is we're this connection to universal intelligence. We're this connection to spirit, to consciousness. And if we can open ourselves up to that, miracles can happen. And that's really, really what my philosophy is. And, how I like to look at life is, if we can connect to that, yes, miracles can happen. And yeah, I'm experiencing some of that myself right now, right? Is knowing that, we can heal, and allow ourselves to be all that we can be in that way. So it's been my philosophy from the beginning. It resonated with me with chiropractic, and then with writing the book, we just wanted to sort of get this message to the world. But one of the things that we wanted to say to people is that, or wanted to do, is to help shift people's orientation away from being a healthcare consumer. Because when people think about health or healthcare, or they talk about it in the media, right? It's about, what drugs or what, surgery you can do, what lotions might help. Sometimes they talk now about some, there is some talk about diet and exercise, but that's sort of the
it's coming. It's coming, because that's
it's coming
industry that it's coming.
We wanted to shift people's orientation from healthcare consumer to being a self-health creator. So knowing you get to create your level of health. You have some responsibility. You get to take charge. You get to make choices. And I think not everyone knows that it's about choice. You get to make that choice. And so, so that's why we went ahead.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir here, although I didn't always know that. But looking back at my health, so much of our health is driven by, kind of spiritual health, that if you have kind of we call this $1 million question on Quantum Leap, but if somebody does have kind of this kind of spiritual problem, maybe it's, well, they believe there's some blockage there about, they don't think they can be healthy. Like um, and I know this, you wrote a whole book on this, but how does one go about kind of repairing that, or getting that right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first thing is for people to have desire, right? Have wanting to have something be different, right? And then to come up with some awareness that something isn't working, right? And then have the desire to want to change. And so, that's where it has to start. But getting in touch, more with your inner self. So, we talk about meditation, or, prayerful kinds of things, or ways to turn your journey or your desire or your seeking inward versus looking outward, right? I mean, that's where it has to start. And when you start to look inward, then the whispers of that higher self start to become louder, and you start to find that part of you. And so it's about making that connection. So it's about connection, right? But the connection isn't going to happen with looking outside of you. It has to come from looking inside yourself. So there's different ways of doing that. I mean, in my practice, I help people with that with a technique called bioenergetic synchronization technique. So what that does is we help to identify what are the emotional blocks, what are the scars, so to speak, in the system, or the blocks that are not allowing that connection. And then what's the solution? So you might look at, I like to describe it to people as if you're standing at a doorway and you're on this side and not feeling totally connected or well or experiencing well-being, but that's on the other side of this doorway. How do you get through the door? Well, the lock on that door is that block, so what's the key? How do you find the key? And when it's an emotional block, that's what we help people to do, is to find out what's the actual key that unlocks the door for you to move through. So an example might be, maybe when you were a child, and your parents bought a brand new house, and you were going to get to have your own room. And so you moved in and you were really excited, and everything was new and newly painted in this house. And so you were so excited. And when you went to your room and you're just this little kid and you wanted to experience your joy, and you just drew this beautiful picture on the wall, you just drew with whatever, crayons or paint, and a real pretty picture. And you went and got your parents and said, come look. And their first reaction to you was, oh my God, you messed up these newly painted walls. What did you do? And so here you were experiencing love, creativity, all of these things, and you were sort of kiboshed emotionally by the parents' reaction to this because they weren't seeing it from that point of view. And then maybe later in life, some of that connection when it comes to love or creativity is what blocks you from really experiencing that joy, that sense of who you were as that young child. And so if we can help you to see that, well, it's about the creativity, it's about the love, and how do you help transform that into something more positive in your life, then you can move through the doorway, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
That
very,
idea.
very good.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
what kind of sticks in my mind was something I was taught, or looking back on my own life, about having how to have a psychic change, and it's kind of sometimes, Erica kind of tries to bring this about with people's health too, but how do you have this change from it's kind of hopeless, or I'm kind of a victim of just bad health, to okay, well maybe I have some role in that, and what is that role? And then once you kind of like peel back those layers of the onion, that awareness that you're talking about, that kind of journey of self-discovery, that can kind of bring about this psychic change. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that ownership, that
Yeah.
finding the way to be the owner of our health. And for me as a therapist, it's like that aspect of how do people get in touch with their resources, whether or not it's spirituality or whether or not it's, taking a breath, whether, so you can work with atheists, you can work with agnostics,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Dr. Lori-Ann, you can work with anyone who has willingness and desire to go towards their healing path.
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, everybody, I think no matter who you are, even if, your health you think is just coming from your body, or as you said, anyone who maybe isn't connected to some, a greater sense of beingness, does know that they're more than their physical body. I mean, you just ask them, well, who's the witness of your thoughts, right? I mean, they know that there's something a little bit more, even
Yeah.
if they think it's just all from the physical. And that's all it's about, is being in touch with, the whole sense of who you are. And that
Yeah.
awareness, right? As you said, it's just suddenly becoming aware, being more connected, even on a physical level. That's that looking inside of it.
Yeah.
Breathing is a great way, right? It slows things down. It's
Yeah, so it's like doubters welcomed. Well, doubters are welcome to come explore with Dr. Lori-Ann
Oh,
and
yes.
watch how your doubt goes to the side for your healing processes.
Well, your nervous system is the controller of all other systems of your body, and it's regulating a lot of that. People who are in high stress or, in fight or flight, and so
Yeah.
many of us are there right now, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I've talked about that a lot recently about stress is 90% of, all illness is related to stress. And so that part of our nervous system, when activated, sort of down regulates our ability to connect, because it's the other part of our nervous system that slows us down, that connects us to, even our physical body, our immune system, all of that, and, calms us down, allows us to connect to nature. We're part of nature, right? So some of it is, if you can just start to connect to nature and enjoy and appreciate the, the roses, so to speak, right? I mean, that in and of itself will bring you that bigger sense of peace, will allow you to start to move towards healing, because, that's what it's really all about. And, if we can recognize even that yes, we're part of the natural environment. That's really all it would really take, is to slow down, to get out of that fight or flight part of your system and allow yourself to be more open, aware to your surroundings and appreciate, right? We talk about gratitude and appreciation in the book too, about how important that is to open ourselves up a little bit to healing, right?
Yeah.
When we start to connect on that level, when we start to appreciate, relationships, when we start to, get to the heart of things, right? Connecting to the heart. That's another way, right? Is we connect to that heart energy. We've met plenty of people whose hearts are closed, right? But as you can start to find ways to open the heart with gratitude, with appreciation for anything, for the little dandelion that pops up in your yard, the pretty yellow flower kind of thing. Anything that allows you to find a sense of appreciation will start to open yourself up to healing. And that will bring the energy for you to start to open up your own self a little bit more. So yes, we talk about the connection to spiritual intelligence, but you know what? You don't have to, it's just a natural law of the universe. You don't have to necessarily, walk around saying that, that's what your philosophy in life is. But if you just start to appreciate yourself, each other, open up your heart, you're going to experience the same feelings.
Yeah, well put. Well, this is kind of music to our ears. I know Erica, I always feel like you guys
Yeah.
are we're that's really the goal of this show in a lot of ways, and it's the most important thing. Without that kind of spiritual component, it's hard to find that peace and health. And I find that it's different gradations, that a few things like the meditation and healthy habits, they'll bring you more. So it's not kind of like all or none. It's how to kind of move in the right direction. That's what I really appreciated Erica's approach to with the healthy living, so it's like, doing these healthy habits to like get you on the path, so to speak. So, but I
Right.
love the ideas that you bring. It's such a in-depth discussion of,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think again, it just starts with as I said before, it starts with the desire, right? It starts with the desire to want that. Because if someone doesn't want it and doesn't want to make change, then there's not a lot you can do. But if you can help guide them to see that they have choice, that they can take charge, and that there are opportunities, with a lot of the things that Eric is providing, and, the healthy living habits and all of that, once you realize that you have the choice and you have the ability to create your health by making these positive choices in your life, then things start to, as you said, the layers start to open up, and more becomes available for you.
It would be great to talk to you more about all of this and talk about, like, other parts of the world, what's happening, how can people tap into this on other parts of the world where it's not so free and easy right now. But let's save that for our next interview with you.
Yeah, we can do another discussion when we resume in the fall. I feel like this is,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't get into a lot of this last time, so I'm glad. Thanks for coming on, and I know we're at time, but we'll
Okay.
love to look forward to continuing
Yeah,
this
well, I
discussion.
appreciate you having me. I appreciate talking about it and all of the work that you're doing and all of the work that Erica's doing to bring light to this, because that's what's important. The more we spread the word, the more it will make for a healthier community.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Well, we'll put the links to your institute and your contact info, and I'm gonna stop the live feed here as Carrie just joined the chat here. So
Oh, my
thanks everyone. Bye.